I'm going to do a quick video on factoring trinomials. And trinomials have the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants, and a cannot equal 0. If a equals 0, then you would not have ax squared plus bx plus c, you just have bx plus c. Anywho, what's important about this is, if a equals 1, you're just going to be left with something like x squared plus 3x plus 4 or something. I just want to show you something real quick. If you had x plus 2 and x minus 7, all right, and we FOILed this, you get x squared minus 7x plus 2x minus 14. And then you'd get x squared minus 5x minus 14. And what I want you to notice is the 2 and the 7 multiply together to give me the 14, but we combine them as like terms to get us the 5. And that's so B is combining and C is the product. Alright, so I just want you to make a mental note. Now I'm going to erase this now. And I'm going to give you 4 examples. I'm going to just explain how we go about solving, not solving these, but evaluating these. And I'm going to do hopefully a nice shade of purple. It looks kind of eggplanty. Maybe make it a tiny bit darker for true eggplant feel. So let's say I had something like this. X squared plus 9x plus 20. Now, my b equals 9. Not super crazy about this purple color, but that's fine. And my c equals 20. Well, like I said, the c is a product, so I need to find what are the factors of c. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. And like I said, b we get by combining. So if I combine 1 and 20 and 2 and 10, and 1 and 20, I can't get to 9. I can't get to 9 using 2 and 10. But I can get to 9 using 4 and 5. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to erase all these. I'm going to say, alright, well, I need 2 numbers to multiply to x squared, x and x. And then I say, I know it has to be 4 and 5. And now I have to put in signs. Well, I need 4 times 5 to equal positive 20. So in order to get 2 numbers to multiply to positive 20, they both have to either be positive or they both have to be negative. If they're both positive, I have a positive 4 and a positive 5, which gives me a positive 9 when we combine them. And so I get x squared plus 4, x plus 4 times x plus 5. If you multiply that out, you'd get x squared plus 9x plus 20. Let's look at a second example. Let's say I had something like this. X squared plus x minus 20. Alright, well, here my b equals 1, because it's really a 1 understood. And my c equals negative 20. And I'm not super concerned with the signs right now, because, well, you'll see why in a minute. But my product is has to be 20, so I'm going to say 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, and now I need to get to 1. Well, I can't get to 1 using 1 and 20. I can't get to 1 using 2 and 10. But I can get to 1 using 4 and 5 if I subtract. So once again, I make my 2 parentheses. It's x and x because x times x equals x squared. I'm going to put in 4, I'm going to put in 5. Now, it needs to multiply to get a negative 20, which means one's going to have to be positive and one's going to have to be negative. Well, here are my 2 choices. I have either a positive 4 and a negative 5, or a negative 4 and a positive 5. Well, negative 4 and positive 5 gives me positive 1, and this gives me a negative 1. Well, I have a positive x, so my 4 is going to have to be negative, and my 5 is going to have to be positive. And that's it. What I did for you was I made a nice little cheat sheet down here at the bottom. And here's what you can do. You can either memorize this cheat sheet. It says if b is positive and c is positive, then both are positive. Take a look at that example. If b is positive, and it was, and c is negative, then the larger is positive. The larger number ends up being positive. 5 is larger than 4, and the smaller is negative. And that certainly worked. I'm going to give you 2 more examples. And if you want to use the cheat sheet, go ahead. If you want to try to figure this out, mathematically, give that a go too. Let's see, example number 3. Let's say I had something like this. X squared minus 11x plus 28. Well, I take a look at my 28. I say, all right, I have 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7. Now, remember, I need to add or subtract to get to 11. 1 and 28, no good. 2 and 14, close, but no good. 4 and 7 does work. So I'm going to say, all right, it's going to be x and x. It's going to be 4 and 7. Now, it's a positive 28. So remember, because I need to multiply to get to 28, it's either going to be negative 4 and negative 7, or positive 4 and positive 7. When I combine them, I had to get a negative 11. So this will give me a positive 11. This will get me a negative 11. So they both have to be negative. And sure enough, if b is negative and c is negative, oh wait, I'm sorry, if b is negative and c is positive, then both are negative. And they both were negative. All right, example 4, and this is my last example. There's a x squared minus 2x plus 15. All right, so this is my last example. What's the first thing I have to look for? The product of the factors of 15. So I say 1 and 15, 3 and 5, that's it. I need to get to 2, so get rid of that. It's going to be 3 and 5. It's going to be x and x, 3 and 5. Oh, wait a second. This is actually isn't going to work, which is fine, because C is positive. C is positive, and B is negative, and both are negative. But if both are negative, it's not going to work. So this is actually called prime. Look at that. None of these work because, well, it's just not going to work. Example 5. So I was going to do, let's see, what was I going to do? Both are negative. Well, let's see if I can do one more. I think I want to do, oh, I know what I want to do. X squared minus 2x minus 15. I think that's actually what I want to do. And it would have ended up being x and x, 3 and 5. It'd be a negative 5 and a positive 3 because they're both are negative, so the larger is negative and the smaller is positive. That's it. Hope you got this. Enjoy.